Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice Chat, IGN's Nintendo podcast. There's not a whole lot of news this week, but there is a whole lot of question block, which we'll be getting to right after some quick news. I'm your host, Casey DeFreitas, and today I'm joined by Brian Altano.
I like that you set the expectations right out the gate. Very good. Very smooth.
Appreciate it. Zachary Ryan.
That's me.
And then Tom Marks.
Hello.
Hi. So, like I said, there's not a whole lot of news, but I think the most interesting thing that I read about this week was a Nintendo Switch patent has been revealed, and it's a touch pen attachment for Joy-Cons.
What?
And this patent was filed in June, and we just now learned of it. And it attaches to the Joy-Con, like, kind of like where you attach the wrist bit goes. I don't know. I lost mine. I don't even know what they're called. They just, like, don't exist to me.
I think they're called wrist bits.
Yeah, the wrist bits.
The rail ropes?
Yeah,
Delicious.
and instead of it just being, there's a nub on the end that acts as a stylus. And it will interact when you're pressing a button or somewhat. So they show a picture, and you're using the stylus, and if you press the button, the line that you're drawing will get thicker. And it also has rumble functionality.
Ooh. I kind of dig that. Yeah, I did see a picture of that, and it seems like an obnoxiously large thing to use on a small touch screen.
Yeah, because you have to hold the entire
The
Joy-Con.
whole Joy-Con. You're
Yeah.
like holding it like a child holds a crayon, where you're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Which is how, I mean, that's how I hold my crayons normally
Right,
anyway, so it's fine for me. I think
just
it's
a full grip on it.
Yeah.
I'm drawing.
This is,
So could this mean DS ports?
maybe DS ports.
That'd be
So,
good.
You wouldn't need like that. You wouldn't need the button functionality if you're talking DS ports. Like all you need is a stylus.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. This maybe they're cooking up something different.
What
But
about
Nintendo
Scribblenauts?
couldn't sell you a new thing if they did that.
True.
Yeah,
True.
that's fair.
Some people are saying that it might come out with the Switch Pro. I personally don't think they would be. It's just a periphery, right? It's just going to
Yeah.
come out for
But
anything.
also, I mean, who's using the Switch to do art? You know what I mean? Like, I guess you're doing a lot more art recently. Are you using an iPad to do that? Like, are you just using like
I switch off between a sketchbook and an iPad with a iPencil.
with an
or something,
iPencil? Yeah,
Which is an equally
Apple Pen. What's it called?
Yeah, something. It's an equally stupidly cumbersome design. Like to sync it at first, you have to plug it into your bottom of your iPad.
Yeah.
And that looks like caveman nonsense.
Yeah.
So I there's definitely good ways to do it. I mean, I think Nintendo did
how
it
do
for
you sync a
years.
Pro controller? Like you plug it into the back of your Switch.
I've never done that before, so I have no idea.
you just,
No, I'm just
you,
kidding.
like what? I've seen you do that.
hold the button.
And to be fair, maybe more people would do art with their Switch if there's
That's
a better
fair.
way to do
Well,
art with
I
your
guess so.
I love the drawing mechanisms on the DS. I used to play with that a ton when I was a kid. So maybe they would just come out with a few like apps that you can just draw stuff and share, and it would
did it-
very quickly become R-rated and obscene and not for
Sure,
children.
like
but-
you do
Picture
the I was gonna say you could do the
Picture
entirety
chat.
of like Jackbox on like Drawful or something.
Yep.
oh,
like,
that
on
would
Switch.
that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
That'd be
But they
cool.
could bring back UDraw, the peripheral that tanked THQ.
Forgot about that completely.
I think most
That's a
people
deep
tried
cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you were touched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
yeah.
one.
I mean that's
There's a
the
lot of
biggest
different
like
things.
that's the biggest thing, right? Is like give me all those Wario games that need a stylus to
Yeah.
play. Like I'd
Yep.
love to see any of those on Switch. I think Brian hit the nail on the head when he said DS ports, but like Tom was saying, like why all the extra functionality? I mean, I guess just because you can.
Well,
You know?
there's like an AR sensor in one of the Joy-Con that never gets used either, right? Like Nintendo likes making these things that are really technically cool and then just kind of don't get used a lot, but when they
Yeah.
get used, they're used in very interesting ways, right?
Well-
Like that sensor is really nice for
Take a look at
ring
what
fit.
they did with cardboard.
Yeah, I was
Exactly.
gonna say like last year alone they did Ring Fit and they did VR and everything with Labo before that. It was sort of just like I had no idea that the controllers could even do that. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, put tape on cardboard and all of a sudden you're a wizard. And I'm like, how on earth? Yeah, they figure out cool stuff. to do with
Someone's
stuff like
never read Harry Potter.
that. Thank God.
Yeah.
I think
Keep it that way.
the biggest takeaway from that, at least from kind of what we've just been talking about, is like probably this isn't the thing we can totally figure out just from a patent. Like they're gonna, if this does have as much functionality as we think it is, they're probably going to announce it with a game or
Yep.
with something that kind of goes hand in hand with it.
Well, and just because you patent something doesn't necessarily mean you put it into production or put
Right.
it into
Yeah.
use. You know what I mean? Like they might secure that patent just to beat somebody else to the punch, right? Like just like to corner that market. Like, hey, we might do something with this thing down the line, and we want to have this on board just in case we ever think up a use for something like this.
Yeah, they have Nintendo has a long history of like obtuse drawings of weird alien boys sitting in front of like bizarre televisions interacting with controllers in ways that never actually materialized.
Sure.
And they're like, hey, we're working on this thing that cuts your TV in half using your friend's hands. And you're like, what is that drawing? And we spend like a whole NVC episode being like, what is it? And then it never happens. Sort of like that weird, remember that finger pulse sensor thing that they showed at E3 one year? Mm-hmm. The vitality sensor?
The vitality sensor, yeah.
Speaking of deep cuts.
No. I mean, no, but they.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
It was like a thing that they check your pulse at the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nintendo was gonna.
Well, the IR sensor in the Joy-Con can do that.
Yeah, which is weird because they implemented that in Ring Fit.
Yeah.
But at one point during
Do you
E3,
know that it'll also take your temperature?
What?
The Joy-Con?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah. You have to use it regularly, though.
Oh no.
Zach. Anyway, the Switch might be getting a stylus. Maybe we'll get scribble knots and not a thermometer. But hey, in other news,
don't put that there.
this is kind of more of a PSA than hard news. But Killer Queen Black is on sale for $9.99, and they just launched 8-player local co-op.
Damn, that is a steal for that game.
It's a really, really fun arcade game. I don't even know how to. It's weird to describe.
It's like bug soccer.
Yeah. So you're playing, you all are on one screen and there's some platforming involved, and you can either, I don't remember the terms, but if you're the queen, you're supposed to not die. And whoever kills the opposing team's queen
5v5
the most wins.
It's 5v5 in the arcade game. It's 4v4 in Killer Queen Black.
Okay.
And it's kind of like if you know Joust, the old Joust arcade game.
Okay.
It's like a much more complex strategic version of Joust.
Right. So there's multiple ways to win each round. It's you either kill the queen. So like people are, your team of 4, one person is the queen and she's on defense, or your team is on defense around her, or gather the berries and put all the berries in like a little berry basket down in the corner, hence my soccer comparison. And I think the third way is a full team elimination.
No, the third way is a snail.
Snail, that's
There's
what
a
it is.
snail in the middle of the match.
And you have
It's
to
like a
ride
tug of
it.
war. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can ride the snail to either side, and that will also secure a victory. But so like matches can go on forever, or they can be super fast.
Thank you for explaining that, because I played it one time late night at a bar, so I wasn't completely not inebriated.
Right.
So I did not remember it as well as you both did.
Yeah.
It's a wild game. It's one of those things where the first time you get into it, you sort of just don't understand what's going on because there's so many different things you could be doing. But even then, it's just madness and fun. And it's really cool that there's an 8-player local now, because that sort of feels like the way that game is always meant to be played, was as many people as you can playing it locally.
Yeah. I've only played it a few times on Switch, but when I live up the street from a pretty cool barcade, and when Killer Queen came to that barcade, like anybody that I could convince to go down there and play with me, like I would go down and play it for like weeks. It was so
It's a very good barcade too.
It is cool. Yeah.
That's how it was at the bar too. We were just playing with random people. If we didn't have enough people, we would just bring them onto our team.
Yeah. It's a super
fun
fun game, and for $10, like that is absolutely a great deal.
Think of how much money you'll save by not going to the barcade
Pumping
and spending
quarters.
quarters. But also like soft news, but hey, the Pokemon the First Movie remake is coming to Netflix on February 27th. This is like a 3D model remake of the very first Pokemon movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. It's not Detective Pikachu quality. They kind of look like toy models. Have you guys seen?
They do look really toyetic. Like they have a weird like plastic sheen to the character design. Like I don't mind it. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying like this is so cool, and I've seen a lot of people saying like this is terrible. I don't like the way this looks. Yeah.
I think the expressions look a little stiff on the characters. Like there's not enough and as much emotion as there are in the actual animated series. But I'm still excited to see it, and it'll be on Netflix, so I don't have to pay anything to go watch it anyway. So I'm going to give it a shot. By not paying, I mean I pay for Netflix, but I'm going to have it anyway. So it's
You
fine.
could also steal the account information from somebody else.
Yeah, you could also do that, but don't listen to us. That's illegal, guys.
Is it though?
Don't break the
I
law.
think you could listen to us a little bit. It's a little bit of a crime.
We just keep giving terrible advice on this show.
Tiny crimes are okay.
You can do a little bit of crime as a treat.
Everyone knows that.
As long as there's no victim. If it's a victimless crime, it's okay.
Might be a small victim there.
Would you download a car?
Yes,
You download
Stream a Pokemon.
absolutely. No, wait.
I'm getting lost in this actually now.
No, it's
I shouldn't
fine.
have said anything.
Would you steal a Pokemon? I know you would.
What do you think I am, Team Rocket?
Very good. Very good. Really brought that one back around.
That was good.
So there are some new games out this week. I was talking to Tom about this one, and it's probably one of the most frustrating things I've ever looked at on the eShop. This is Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate, out on January 17th for $60.
Which is a Dynasty Warriors game, basically.
And it's a Dynasty Warriors crossover with Samurai Warriors. It has like the biggest roster of any of those games and some new features. And this Warriors Orochi 4 originally came out on other platforms, I think last year.
It came out on Switch 2 in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is just the Ultimate version, which is actually coming out to Switch a month early. It's coming out to other platforms in February. But if you go to the official website, it doesn't say anything about the Switch version.
Yeah. So for some reason, the Switch version launched last week and is not being touted anywhere as having launched last week. And we don't know why, but it's out.
Is it bad?
No, I mean, it's got relatively positive reviews on Steam, the base game does.
So why are they hiding it?
Yeah, that's
a
the
great
thing. It's like if Steam reviews
What
don't
are they
reflect what's going on Switch, right? So like, is the Switch port just bad and they just like slipped it out under the radar?
If the Switch port was bad, why would they release it a month early? Is what I want. Like, it's a very interesting thing. And we checked like the Bandai Namco Twitter account, and they didn't even tweet that it was out on Switch the day it launched. Like, it's a very
honestly
it's just kind of confusing thing.
Could be a sneaky way to hide a crime.
A small crime? That's okay, though?
I think it's okay.
We also looked at the eShop page, and there's 6 different listings for Warriors Orochi 4.
What?
There's Warriors Orochi 4, which is not available to purchase anymore.
Okay, because
there's
Ultimate is out.
Warriors Orochi 4, the Ultimate Upgrade Pack. Warriors Orochi 4, the Ultimate Upgrade Pack Deluxe Edition. Warriors Orochi 4 Deluxe Edition, Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate, and Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate Deluxe Edition.
Tom is looking at his Switch right now. He's not making this
This
up.
entire franchise predicates around being overwhelmed by dozens of the exact same character. So this is on brand.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe this is the ultimate Dynasty Warriors game.
It's all like different combinations of the base game, the deluxe version, the
and
ultimate
it's all different
upgrade.
SKUs and prices. Like,
Yeah, it's all different things. It's wild.
I guess just buy Hyrule Warriors.
I'm confused.
That's the lesson.
I mean, yeah.
Just not the 3DS version.
Yeah.
The Switch version.
Yes.
And then you'll be fine.
Or get Breath of the Wild. It's a better Zelda game.
I was actually just playing that last night, and man, it's a good game.
They really figured that one out.
So, Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 2 and A New Frontier is also coming out on January 21st for $15 each. And it says here in your notes, Tom, that Season 1 and the final season are already available.
Yeah, Season 1 and the final season were already available on Switch. So this is, as far as I understand it, means that Telltale's The Walking Dead is now complete on Switch. All of the seasons are on there. Not including the spin-off stuff.
They put the first and the last season out, but not the middle season.
They put the first season out a while ago, and then they put the final season out when it
was
came out,
releasing, yeah.
And then they went back and put out these two now.
It's odd.
Yeah. So now if you played the first one and you were waiting to get the fourth one, this is the rest of the story. And there's still spin-offs of that, like the Michonne, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Like there's that spin-off too that's not on Switch yet as far as I understand it. But yeah, if you now want to experience the whole main Telltale Walking Dead game, you can do that on Switch now.
That's cool. I really loved the first season and then completely fell off the second season after the first episode.
I did the same. I think I finished the second season and enjoyed it and then dipped out after that. But I'm like vaguely curious to go read up on how it all ended. Mm-hmm. The first one was really powerful.
I
love
it's
like my favorite game that year.
Yeah. I love the first 2 seasons. I did not like the first season in that you couldn't invert your controls. That's my biggest complaint about that game. And I know people are going to say, it's like, oh, but it's a visual novel, Casey. Like, you don't need that. Well, sometimes it's a visual novel and all of a sudden you have to shoot a zombie. And when it does that suddenly, and you're like, oh my God, I have to shoot a zombie. And you're used
your
to
gun
doing
goes way up here.
Yep.
Yeah.
That happened to me multiple times. So maybe they fixed that in the Switch version. I don't know. Maybe I should check. I should ask. Probably not.
No.
Well,
Probably not.
Thanks for ruining my hopes.
Sorry.
Well, same. Anyway, I played the first 2 seasons and then completely dropped off. I think there's a long time gap between the second and the third season.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
And when the third season came out, I was like, wow, I remembered literally nothing from the second season and told myself I'd go back and replay it, and then I never did.
Yeah, I was like super invested in that game because we had the voice actors from the entire cast of the first 2 seasons on Up at Noon regularly. And so like they would come through. I was really excited about where they were taking all of that. But like my interest in almost all things Walking Dead, it totally cratered over time.
Well, now you can play it while you poop.
Yeah.
It's weird. That's
On the
messed up
Switch.
that you said that.
Sorry.
Small crime.
So this one is out on January 22nd, Soccer Tactics and Glory for $40, and it's basically Soccer XCOM.
Yo,
Tom is excited.
I'm like so weirdly excited about stumbling upon this morning. A game came out today, as of the day that we filmed this, called Soccer Tactics and Glory, and yeah, it's basically Soccer XCOM. And
But where do you hide?
no, it's like the soccer field is like a grid, and you move your dudes in turn-based soccer form, and then you play soccer turn-based on a grid.
Can't imagine a game that I'd be less interested in.
Yeah, right?
This game came out on, I was like totally ready to overlook it, and then I looked it up on Steam, and it came out a year and a half ago on Steam as Football Tactics and Glory, and actually has like 2,000 positive.
There it is. Thanks to our friends in the UK.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I feel like Pear would love this game.
I don't know anything about it. I've never played it. All I know is that it actually is pretty well liked on Steam and is a hilarious concept to me. So
I just kept thinking about the soccer players like hiding behind like destructible walls and stuff, and I was like, that sounds interesting, but it's just a field.
no, it's just a field.
I think it's an interesting concept. I want to make very clear that this is soccer, tactics, and glory, and not soccer tactics and also glory.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's
you're getting
soccer,
three
comma,
for
tactics
the price
and
of
glory.
one and not
Yeah.
two.
I see. This is why the Oxford comma is vital to me, because is it soccer
I agree.
tactics and glory, or is it soccer tactics and glory?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
I think we can all agree that we do like glory.
Sure.
It's the other words I'm not as interested in.
Tactics in the soccer that we're not super jazzed
You
about.
guys like tactics?
I do now. Now that I've played one Fire Emblem game to completion, I'm a big tactics boy.
No.
So,
See, that's exactly where I was going with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and not even just one path. So, yeah.
just one.
Yeah.
That's still like 60 hours? You did 60 hours of tactics. You're good. You're
I
fine.
did. A lot of that was talking to school kids. But
If I was to rank the words in this in an IGN list, I would put number 1 is glory, number 2
probably tactics.
No,
Well,
I think soccer. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think I like soccer more than tactics, even though I don't like either.
Okay,
That's
we're
fair.
going to do an actual official IGN poll, and I guarantee you soccer will be last.
oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Not in the UK team, though.
Soccer is
UK
the most
team,
popular
soccer number
sport
one.
in the world.
Yeah.
But at the
Football.
IGN office?
Oh, definitely not here.
Yeah. Are we looping Joe and Cardi into this?
Oh, for
No.
sure.
Okay.
Football manager, game of
That'll
the year
sway the
every
decision.
year. Do you guys notice how it's a slow news week this week?
No, not at all. I'm having a blast.
Yeah, like we'll have tons of fun with Mosaic out on the 23rd for $20. It's from the developer of Among the Sleep.
I got to play this at E3, and it's just
Okay.
like a really cool sort of very pretty visual novelty sort of thing. Just wanted to keep an eye out for.
And
What
also
happened there? You're going to take off your jacket
I
and
was
you
gonna
gave up?
I was gonna take off my jacket because it's getting kind of hot in here, and then we cut to the 2-shot, and I was like struggling, and I was like, I'm just gonna stop.
You ever try to put on a jacket when you're on an airplane and you're sitting next to somebody?
Yes.
It's just
Yeah,
like-
it's one of the
the
worst
worst.
experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or like I get on the bus and it's full and I'm trying to take my jacket off because
Yep.
I have a 40-minute hot bus ride ahead of me, and then I'm just elbowing people in the face. It's fun.
It reminds me of this game that I love called Jackets, Buses, and Glory.
Episode has gone wildly off the
Can
rails.
you take your jacket off and not bother your neighbor? Because I can't.
It's tough.
Jackets, buses, tactics.
It's actually, you know what? A simulator of riding a bus in San Francisco without getting in a fight sounds like kind of a good game.
Hey, I think you should all appreciate this slow news week right now because I'm over on the other podcast and all we get to talk about is game delays. So things
Yeah,
are going
that's
going pretty well over here in Nintendo Town.
Yeah.
Go play that soccer game if you
I mean,
want.
you guys know Isabel just like one by one just went to the developers and just messed them up.
I know. If Animal Crossing has to stay put, don't move, baby.
Animal
Love
Crossing
you.
already
Don't leave.
Fine.
moved. Its delay got
Yeah.
out of the way, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
A
you're
lot
right.
of the games that moved got delayed already, though.
You're right.
Cyberpunk's been delayed like 6 times. This is going to be on its, what, 5th E3?
Cyberpunk's not a real video game until it comes out. That's what I say.
Animal Crossing.
I feel that same way about Final Fantasy. Like, I don't believe that game is actually real until it's like on my PlayStation.
Because we've been thinking about that since what, the PS3?
Yeah.
It's been, yeah.
Welcome to
it
Beyond,
was-
IGN's
Yeah.
PlayStation podcast.
We digress.
Hey, Final Fantasy VII is available on the Nintendo Switch right now. Not the remake version, but that's fine. So
Yeah,
Oddworld,
good segue.
Stranger's Wrath HD is coming out on the 23rd. I know Perry's been playing this. I think he talked a bit about it last
Yeah,
week.
we talked a little bit about it last
Yes.
week.
It's finally here.
You've been playing it also.
No. It's just I kind of peeked over Pear's shoulder for a little while. It's gorgeous.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was our general consensus.
Yeah.
If you missed the show last week, I played the first few hours. Pear's been playing it. Like, he really enjoys it. Loves the kind of throwback feel to it. The remaster is really nice looking. I feel like it is a little bit 2005 for my taste this day and age. So I've probably dropped off of it. He's very into it. He's like a weird old German dude though.
Oh, he doesn't know about the soccer tactics game.
No, God, no.
We're gonna
Game of
lose
the
him.
year.
Yeah. I mean, when we said port everything to Switch, everybody
that
listened.
was
Guess we're getting
Yeah.
everything.
Loving it.
We're also on January 23rd. We're getting Speedrunners,
Another port.
$15.
This is a speed platforming racing game where you have a grappling hook, and it's
Ooh,
very popular on other platforms. It's just one to keep an eye out if you like platformers.
cool.
sweet.
Ryan loves platformers.
I do.
Right.
Is it procedurally generated? Question mark
I don't
hesitance.
think so, but it's a racing game. It's like a competitive platforming game.
Oh, that's
That
very
sounds cool.
interesting.
And that's why it's called Speedrunners. 'cause-
Yeah, it's a racer that the racing mode is platforming with a hook shot.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I like
cool.
a lot of those words, unlike that other thing.
All right, now I would like to talk about what we're playing, and it seems like no one is playing anything because the section is blank except for
wait.
Zach's, which
I want to go last. So start with somebody else, please.
I'll go first.
Go first, Tom. I was gonna spoil everyone and just say what you have written down, but it's fine.
Not yet.
Saving it. I can see you just building it up right now. I've been playing a game that I can't talk about this week, but I'm going to be talking about next week for review. And then I've been playing a lot of Slay the Spire because I'm addicted.
Yeah.
And I've also been playing a lot this weekend of Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which I didn't think I was going to be able to devote as much time to, but I kind of fell a little bit in love with and have been playing a lot more than I thought I was going to.
What do you specifically like so much about?
I really like the aesthetic. I really like the combat. And I really like this sort of wild J-pop world that it's built around.
Yeah.
A lot of other things about it are bugging the heck out of me. The fact that it constantly sends you back to your base.
Yeah.
Like you're constantly leaving the dungeons to just like go back to the base and build a new weapon and then come back into the field. Like I don't think it is by any means the best JRPG I've ever played or anything, but like the combat is so fun. That session mechanic of chaining moves into other moves and figuring out enemies' weaknesses, like that stuff is all just really, really appealing to me. So yeah, I'm really digging it.
So after playing it some more, I think I was finally able to truly articulate what I like and don't like about it. I think I like it for the same reason you do. I really enjoy the combat mechanism. I don't get bored doing it, and I feel like that's very rare for a turn-based RPG. But I don't like how easy the progression system is. It seems like you're not spending hours in menus tinkering with your party members, which is something that you do in like games like Persona and Fire Emblem and even Final Fantasy or like Disgaea. Like there's a ton of tinkering that goes on outside of the battles to optimize your teams and optimize your players, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions just kind of does it for you. You're choosing a weapon, but to unlock that weapon just kind of happens naturally as you play.
Yeah.
So there's really nothing to do outside of the battle.
Progression is basically just the numbers go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I skip the level up screen every single time a character levels up because it is completely irrelevant which numbers go up.
So it's been so long since I've played it. There's not really, you can't really steer characters in certain directions. Like, oh, I'd rather this person be more a magic user or this person be more of like an attacker.
You can really, in like a really kind of surface level way, right? Like if you give them a magic item, then that'll change it a little bit. But since they can only equip one accessory and then the weapon, it's like Casey's saying, you really don't have a ton of control over it. You have little ways, but not enough that you can really overly influence the direction a character is going. And so it does feel kind of on rails in that regard.
Yeah,
which makes the fact that you have to constantly go back and micromanage all of these weapon things and they're getting their radiant unities and all that up. It makes it just sort of tedious. The fact that you have to do all the busy work, but you don't get any of the control. Like that I agree. That's really frustrating.
I think so. For me, it's disappointing because I like that functionality in JRPGs. On the other hand, I know there are plenty of people who freaking hate it and hate spending that much time in menus just to do good. So I think this is a great introductory JRPG as long as you actually like anime.
It is very anime.
Because it's kind of like, it's like a good introductory lesson into like JRPG things and like
I was a little
and whatnot.
I was a little disappointed there was only Japanese voices.
Yeah.
That hasn't actually bugged me that much in practice, but at the beginning I was kind of bummed.
I'm also a little bit bummed about that because they talk in battles, so they will say something in a battle that maybe would give you a clue on what's going on or how they're feeling or what the boss is doing. And since I don't speak Japanese, I have no idea what those clues are.
Are there subtitles?
No subtitles in the battle. In the battle, there's no subtitles. It's just they're.
So
just
you're
saying,
talking about like
it's
interstitial
commentary.
dialogue.
Yeah, it's
not
just like in battle commentary. Like they'll be like, "Oh, I don't feel so good," like in English, or like maybe try this, but you don't know what it says.
That's weird. That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I don't know, like that doesn't bother me, like playing a game and like I played all of Sekiro in Japanese. I'm playing Yakuza right now, and that game only has Japanese language tracks, and like I think it makes sense where appropriate. Like you played Plague Tale last year.
Yeah.
I played that game in French because it's set in France.
Yeah,
and,
I
like,
did the same.
I feel like it makes those games feel more authentic, but when they leave out information like that, that's a little weird.
And that's
even
that's
if it's
the thing as well.
contextual or like additional, like that's a little strange.
I had the same problem with, this is a really niche game, but Berserk and the Band of the Hawk was a Musou game based on an anime, and a lot of the story would happen while you were fighting. So they would be talking, and sure, subtitles would pop up, but it's an action game. I'm not going to like stop and read while I'm trying to keep my combo up, like with hordes of things attacking me. That just doesn't make any sense. So I luckily I already knew the story, but for someone, if you didn't know, you would miss a lot if you didn't read the subtitles while playing the game. So I think in theory, I don't mind it, but sometimes in practice, it's annoying.
That's too bad too. Berserk is sick.
Is it? Yeah. What's your favorite part?
Not the game,
No.
but like
the
manga.
Yeah. No, it is really, really cool, and the story is actually really interesting. Super, super dark, not safe for children. Don't watch it around that.
Big influence in Dark Souls.
Yeah, actually, a huge people were saying that Dark Souls should just be a Berserk game.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's really cool. Hey, Brian.
Hey.
What have you been playing?
I've been playing Skellboy, but I don't think I can talk about it yet. It's from the studio that so they're publishing this game. It's from a smaller studio, but it's from the studio that made Slime Song. But
Hey, you love that game.
Big fan of that. This is a very different game. It is sort of like a third-person action-adventure game where you walk around as a skeleton and you kill people and you steal their body parts, and they give you sort of buffs and impact the way you interact with stuff.
Pear described this game a while ago as Paper Zelda.
Yeah.
As in Paper Mario, but for a slashy Zelda.
I dig that. I'm
listening.
early.
Yeah.
Not a bad
pitch.
pitch.
I think you guys will like it. I'm early, so I haven't gotten to any like meaty dungeon stuff. It's mostly been overworld so far, unless that's the dungeon itself. Who knows? But
Just like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's a lot to love there, and I hopefully can talk about it more pretty soon.
So Slime Song was very much like an 8-bit looking game. If this game is what Tom is saying that it is, I feel like that art style wouldn't work. What does it look like? I've not seen anything about it.
Kind of voxely almost.
Okay. Yeah.
It's pixel art, but then the pixel art characters are little sort of 3D flat things.
Like Paper Mario.
Yeah. Like
Okay,
Paper
cool.
Mario.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. What's it called again?
Skellboy.
Skellboy.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, we'll be Pear and I will definitely be talking about it more soon on this show.
What have I been playing? I've been playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which we already talked about. More Slay the Spire, which we talk about every week. Pokemon, which we talk about every week. I played Smash this weekend. I played Mario Party. I played Jackbox.
A lot of stuff.
I am on the last battle of Fire Emblem.
Yay.
I think it's
No
the last
spoilers.
one
Yay.
because it's kind of
What
weird.
house are you playing?
I'm playing Golden Deer.
Golden Deer. Okay, what chapter are you in?
21 or
no
22?
spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember. I might be in 22. I don't know.
I'm not.
I don't think that's spoiler. It's like
It's been out
there's,
for almost a year.
there's 22 chapters. So no,
You'd be
why
surprised.
would you tell me that? But
There are deer in that game? I know.
So I asked because I think there are 17 or 18 chapters in the Black Eagle route.
okay.
And the final battle, so like I played on like turbo baby mode in that game. You know, I did like no permadeath and also normal battle, not difficult or not hard. And so honestly, like all of the battles, I feel like I won't say that I breezed through them because I did occasionally like lose people and would like rewind to get people back in my fight or whatever. But the last battle absolutely kicked my ass. Like, it was so hard. Just like that game takes just such a steep ramp. Like in the last 2 battles, we'll on
see.
my path. So I'm curious to see
We'll
what
come
the
back and talk about it next week because
finally the Fire Emblem post-mort that fans have been demanding.
This game was kind of challenging for me until about midway through, and then I got some heroes relics, and a lot of them just can't die. I just put them out in the middle of the field and be like, all right, guys, hit me. And then I just one-shot everyone.
Yeah, so, in my game, it was like Byleth, Petra, and Edelgard, they were unstoppable. Like, you couldn't even scratch them. Like, they would dodge and then counter and just destroy people. Yep. It was amazing. Yeah.
I have Felix, and his relic is a shield that sometimes makes it so he just doesn't take damage. And I made him a sword master and gave him a sword that already has like a 50 crit rate. So it's like, okay, so he can't get hit, and then like 70% of the time he's gonna crit and one shot you. Like, right? Okay,
seems good.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. I'm not even over leveled.
Yeah.
But so it's really strange that the beginning of the game was so much more difficult compared to the second half so far. We'll see how that last battle goes for me.
You've been working your way through that game really slowly.
Yeah.
And isn't there something like really nice about playing something like over the course of like a long period of time? Like, don't you? I think I finished Fire Emblem in like just under 2 months, which is like pretty fast for a 60-hour game for me. But I've been playing Dragon Quest 11. You know, that game, I know I've talked about it here a number of times, but that game is built in like almost anime story arcs where it's like you meet a character, you go on a quest with that character, and then you're off to the next thing, you're off to the next town. And each of these arcs is like between 1 and 3 or 4 hours long. So it's nice. Like, I won't play it for weeks, but then I'll sit down one weekend and play through one arc and be like, great, that was awesome. And now I know where I'm going next. And like, there's something I think so nice about playing, especially like a long game like Fire Emblem or Dragon Quest over a long period of time, because when you come back, there's like a sense of familiarity, but also like you weirdly feel like you're getting to know those characters and those mechanics
a lot
so
more.
much better, you know, like
I retain so much more information when I play things over a long period of time. Same thing with shows. When I sit down and watch a show in 1 or 2 sittings, I don't remember like a month later, I couldn't tell you anything about it.
I'm like that with Netflix shows.
Yeah.
Turns out binging is a bad word.
Yeah, I know.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. But when I binge watch a show, I just don't retain any of it. I don't know anything. It's the same thing with video games. If I sit down and play just a ton of a video game in 1 or 2 sittings, I'm not going to remember anything a few months later.
when you binge drink or binge eat, you black out and forget
like,
what you're doing.
I ate a whole cake last night.
Yeah, and somehow we weaponize that word to be positive in the way we consume media, and I don't think that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my low key resolutions is to be more
Eat more whole cakes by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Trying to pack on a few lbs, but no, just like be more constructive and be more critical about like how I ingest media and try to space things out a little more. Because like I fall into the same trap with like Netflix shows and stuff. Like I just started watching season 2 of Sex Education, which is a fantastic show, but I watched the recap for this first season and was like, I didn't remember any of that.
Yeah.
Half of that I maybe remembered from that show.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's because I watched the first season in like 2 days. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about consuming media the way it was originally presented, like 1 episode a week, because you would watch it, then you would have a conversation with people about what happened, what it means, what will happen. And that way it sticks with you a lot more than if you were just to watch the whole season and then never think about it ever again.
Well, that's what was so much fun about most of the episodes of The Mandalorian, right? Was that you like it would air on a Friday and we would come in, most of us watched it that morning because of the nature of IGN. And we'd come in and talk about like, oh my God, this thing, what do you think this means? And so like you'd have those conversations in your mind going into that next episode. Like, oh, Brian said that this could mean XYZ. And like that payoff is so much more rewarding than being like, well, we'll just find out right now.
Yeah, I've like kind of always like said that I wish games sort of universally had a like previously on feature that could just be implemented from a system level, where if you went 2 months without playing Dragon Quest and you hop back in and you're like, where I'm in the middle of a dungeon, do I need to get a key? And they showed you like a quick recap, like just a speed up of like the last 5 hours you had played. like crunch down to 60 seconds or something.
Ironically, Dragon Quest does do that.
Yeah.
Every time you quit out to the main menu and come back in, they give you a refresher on like the last 2 story arcs.
I really love that.
Yeah, and it's like it's just a written thing that obviously is generated each time you log out and come back in, but it's like it's so nice to be like, "Oh yeah, that was the last thing that I did." And that reminds me of the previous things that I did as well.
Yeah. It's like I think every Zelda game needs like an owl button
Yeah.
where the owl can come in and just like explain to you why you're there, what you're doing. So
And then you can accidentally press a button. It'll tell you again.
Yeah, it'll tell you again and again.
Yeah.
Did you not for sure remember to yes that, to no? And you're like, what? X. Happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Zach, I think it's time.
Yeah.
What have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Dragon Quest. But
A lot of build up there.
no, frickin' Smash, baby. I've been playing so much Smash.
That's literally what's written on the
yes.
page too.
I was like, longtime fans of the show will know that on the lead up to Smash, I was very like, nah, I don't know about it. Kind of the same way I was about Fire Emblem and also Pokemon.
Trend.
Well, I really only love Zelda and Mario, but so Smash came out. I played World of Light. I like got super into the online multiplayer. A lot of people were playing here in the office, and I like really enjoyed it, but was not very good at it and dropped off. Probably around the time that like all the DLC characters started to roll out.
I did the exact
And
same
so
thing.
I've jumped back in here and there occasionally when somebody will be like, oh, we need a 4th person. Do you want to play whatever? But the game's been out for just over a year now, and I'd say in the last 7 months, I've played maybe a total of an hour or 2 hours of that game. This weekend, after all the announcements about Byleth coming to Smash, I was like, oh, I haven't played in a while. I should just pick up my sticks and see where I left off. And I played most of the weekend. Like any opportunity that I had 20 minutes, I booted it up and was playing. I played against my roommate a bunch. I played a bunch of online matches. And I'm still so bad at this game. I'm awful at it. But I was slowly working my way through classic mode and bumping up the difficulty each time.
That's how you do it.
Getting a little bit better. And I've no kidding, I've decided that this year I want to get good at Smash. I want to find I want to find people that will teach me how to be better at it. I want to find communities online and here in San Francisco where I can actually start getting good at it because it's so fun and there's so much more content coming out and it's of anything that I've ever watched on Twitch, the only thing that I've ever really cared about is Smash competitions.
Right.
I love to watch high-level Smash competitions. And I just want to understand what's happening at a fundamental level. And yeah, I don't know why it was an epiphany this weekend. I was just okay, I'm going to get good at Smash.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I want to get good at it. And I don't have any delusions of grandeur. I'm going to be some super competitive Evo guy.
Yeah.
No, but still,
yeah.
I think that's so cool because that game is sort of intrinsically designed for that.
Yeah.
Where you can dip out for a while and then they go, here's a reason to go back. And then you do and you have this renaissance.
It was a weird snowball effect because I was playing and then I was watching tutorial videos and then I was playing and then I was looking at other characters' videos being oh, okay, maybe I could do this. It was weird. And I was texting my friend about it and she was I'm a little worried about you because I've texted you 4 times this weekend and you've only been playing Smash. And I was yeah, that's true.
The level of play in Smash can go so high.
Yeah.
The ceiling of skill, the skill ceiling there is just incredibly, ridiculously high compared to base level.
I don't even try to reach for it. You know what I do when I play Smash with my friends? Because I had a friend coming out of town and we played Smash Bros. A bunch while he was staying with me. And the thing we do is items on, stage morph. So there's 2 stages, both stages random. And we do that thing where you can play 5 characters and you randomly go into the next character. Or you go into the next character. And we pick random 5 times. And then we randomize the order of them and we just go.
No.
So we don't know what characters we're playing. It's 5 different characters. There's 2 random stages. Items show. It's that's how we play Smash.
I don't know if anyone's told you, but
any
it's not
amount of my time as a Smash expert has told me that's not how you get better at that game.
No, it's
not.
definitely not.
But you can have
it's way
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can have fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been an items on completely put all the insane switches on as much as possible.
And I'm not saying that's the right way to play Smash. Probably that's
Okay.
the wrong
Do
way to
you know
play
what the
Smash.
right way
There-
to play Smash is?
However you want
you
to.
choose to play.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
Exactly.
no right way, but if you are trying to play to get better on a skill level,
It's not that,
it's not that.
but it's fun.
Man, so I wonder if I can pull up these articles again. Maybe I'll post them in the article, but we do have articles from some of the top players in Smash in the world on how they set their controllers.
Yeah, it's
And
really cool.
they do it so differently from how I ever imagined it would have to be. And Emeka in our office, who was on here with his Smash like fight stick before.
Yeah, his weird flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
I love that thing.
pad.
he can
Yeah.
help you get better.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really good.
I've been building up the courage to ask him to tutor me because he's.
He's like the sweetest guy. Just ask.
Yeah.
He'll do it for you.
I just
For
know I'm gonna get my
$100
ass.
an
I
hour.
was gonna say I just know I'm gonna get my ass whipped for like
Oh, you will.
That's how you get better.
months. Yeah.
And you
gotta
know
do
what?
that.
And you know
I
what
know.
he'll say when he's done beating you up? I'm not even good. That's what he'll say.
I mean, we did a video series, Max Scoville and I, where we trained with like professional, like Combo Fiend came through and taught us.
I
how to
remember
play
that. Yeah, Street Fighter 5. Yeah.
And it was like, we got quantifiably better at that game.
Yeah.
But we also got our asses kicked a lot. And
Yeah.
it's part of it, you know?
Yeah, I'm stoked to play more of it. It's
cool.
You know, like it also, in the same conversation that we were having earlier, it's also a perfect way for me to be like, okay, well, it's a slow year, like at least at the beginning of the year. Maybe I'll just play Smash and not worry about,
Yeah.
you know, like, well, I'll definitely play Animal Crossing. But yeah,
So then
play Animal Crossing
next time. So then the next time you're at a party and everyone brings out Smash, you can be the winner every single time and feel really good about it and not gloat, but gloat internally. And that's
You
the
can
real
also-
reason you want to get good at Smash.
You can be that like pretend bashful guy who's like, oh, gee, Smash, you guys want to maybe bet a couple dollars
I
on that?"
guess.
And then just clean up.
There's only 3 things that I'm really looking for when I walk away from like a game of Smash, and that's soccer, tactics, and glory.
Money, power, respect.
No, but I put out there in the NVC Facebook group, I asked if there was like an online community of NVC players that regularly play, and was kind of surprised to learn that there's not. And I talked to Casey about it a little, and we might be cooking up like a Discord or a little group to put together for NVC fans
To play.
to play, yeah, and learn and give each other tips and stuff like that. So if you're listening and that's something of interest to you, jump in the Facebook group, find that post, and we'll let us know.
I between the last time I spoke and now, I somehow inhaled water into my nose. So
Cool.
dealing with that right now. But hey, let's start off on question block.
Yay.
We have a lot of questions, and you know what? We have like 20 whole minutes to get through them.
Nice.
So
Right
here
on.
we go. This one is from Alan Boone, and this was actually from last week, but I thought it was a really good question. What's the ratio of gaming you do for work versus on your own time? Is that a fine line for you, or is it more blurred?
Oh wow.
Ooh.
I think I mostly play in my own time unless I'm working on a specific game or reviewing a game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the big secret about IGN in general is that, well, unless you're Casey who works on wikis, but like the majority of us don't. I spend 0% of my day at work playing games unless it's the one-off, like, oh, you should check this out for 10 minutes. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I have a PS4 hooked up at my desk. And I bring my Switch with me all the time, but it's incredibly rare that I get to sit down at work and play video games, to the point that I almost feel guilty about it when I do it, because I'm like, I should be sending emails and writing scripts and shooting videos and all that stuff. But yeah, for me, I don't have one of those, like, I have a cartoon job. It's not real by any means, but it's not one. I do not get to like play video games at work all day, which is kind of a bummer.
I only put more than 5 hours into games I did not work on this year in 2 different games, and that was Fire Emblem and Slay the Spire.
Wow.
And if I didn't work on it this year, I did not put more than 5 hours into it, because with wikis, I'm putting 60 to 100 hours into every game I play for wikis. Like Days Gone was my second most played PlayStation game. And
Fortunately for you, Days Gone was your game of the year last year. So.
I was
Let's not.
That's
let's
a long
not.
game.
Yeah.
It's a very long game. No, I helped you out with the Link's Awakening wiki, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wikis is definitely a bubble in that regard, in that you guys put in a crazy amount of effort, and it really shows in the result. But it's most people are not like just sitting at their desk playing games.
Yeah,
Follow
it felt like doing like a cooking tutorial or like giving somebody
Yeah.
directions to something that I had vague recollection of sort of just like I'm constantly taking notes as I'm enjoying something and hoping that one doesn't cancel out the other.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why it's kind of difficult to speak critically on a game that I'm only playing for wikis, especially if you're doing the walkthrough for it, because that like you're not even playing through the main quest line while playing it. But
because I think the issue is like if you get too deep into the note taking, sometimes you forget you're enjoying the game, and other times you enjoy the game so much that you forgot to write something down or like screen cap something. And you're like, oh no, I'll never find that seashell again.
Yeah. I had a couple of follow-up questions for you, Casey. So how often is it that you get to work on a wiki for a game that you're like, you did the Monster Hunter wiki, which obviously you're like the Monster Hunter person. So like, how often is it that you get to choose what wikis you worked on based on your love for a franchise? And then related to that, how often is it that you work on a wiki for a game that you like or like know and recognize is a good game, but it's ruined because you have to write the wiki and it's like, oh, this is like so much stuff, you know, like.
Pretty often for both, I'd say. I very often, like, if you are an expert on a game, you've played a lot of them before, you are a prime candidate to work on the wiki for it because you already kind of know
how to find
doing.
those items. And
you already have background
Good
on
secret
it.
here is never tell anyone you like anything. Because you will become the expert of that thing.
Right.
But
According to Dan Stapleton, you hate video games.
Me?
Yeah, because you're just flying under the radar for everything. Not gonna ever ask you to do anything.
Nope. I can't. Actually, I don't think I legally can't review video games.
Probably not.
I do.
Yeah, but there's not a single Star Wars anything that goes through this office that doesn't go across your desk.
That's true.
So yeah,
that's true.
But as long as I'm not doing the walkthrough for those games, it's still easy to enjoy them. By walkthrough, I mean like writing step-by-step instructions and tips for the entirety of the main storyline, which is what I did for Link's Awakening. And when you're doing that, that's something you have to stop every 10 minutes and write stuff down, or else you're going to forget, oh, did I make a left or a right? Or was that like, and then it's just a mess. So you kind of have to stop very consistently, which kind of takes you out of the flow, which is what video games are trying to get you in. So it's just breaking the flow of enjoyment. Whereas if I'm doing more of the featurey things and managing freelancers, I can focus on just playing a ton. Writing, I'm still writing notes, but not all the time. Like for example, for like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I needed to figure out the best ways to make money. So I would do things I thought would make me money and then record, this took me this long, this is how much money I made, and then figuring out what's the most efficient that way. And that way I'm still getting to play the game without having to write stuff down all the time. Which is a more enjoyable way to work on a wiki for
There's definitely been specific moments where I feel like I'm on the same page with the wiki teams in terms of how much we're enjoying a game, and then they go for the 100% completion and we part. Where I'm like, that was great. I really like that game. And then I'm like, hey Miranda, should I get all the collectibles in Rise of the Tomb Raider? And
that's the one that I was going to point out.
No, don't do it.
Like that's probably the most famous case is like, Miranda really liked the first Tomb Raider reboot game and did the guide for Rise and like absolutely hates that game because some of those like collectibles took hours and hours of like painstaking searching through levels to find, and it's just like,
and the payoff's
that's a pretty easy way to ruin the game.
Yeah. I think that's like there's that Simpsons thing of like the Homer Simpson gets that like 6-foot party sub,
and
he's just eating
sandwich,
it, and it's just like the same thing over and over again, and he's like, it's a great value. By the end, he's just like throwing it. It's like gray.
And he's like food poisoned. And
yeah. There's definitely that element. I mean, some people do want to get every last drop out of a video game, and that's important to do because video games are expensive and it's not a cheap hobby. But for some games, I don't think they're sort of inherently designed for that, and you do run the risk of burnout. And if it's literally your job to sit there and take notes all day about like where a little golden collectible is in the back corner of some forest in Tomb Raider, and it also doesn't really pay off to anything that's interesting.
Like Korok seeds.
I was going to say you just end up getting a big golden turd. Well, I think I know we're on this topic for a while, but this is the thing that I think is at the crux of this conversation is like when Miranda or Casey or Brennan are writing a guide and they can't find that 5th collectible or they can't find whatever, like they don't just go online to look it up. You know what I mean? Like they have to do that work. Like occasionally I'm sure you can reach out to a publisher or developer and be like, where, how? Like, but for the most part, like like people that when the game is out, we've already written a guide.
Yeah.
So like that exists there.
And-
where people are
I was like,
forget it. I'm just going to look this up. Like,
I was DMing Jake at GameSpot and being like, where are these last, like, where's the last seashell? And he's like, it's here. Where is the last, like, tile for Dompe's, like, turd house or whatever? And I was like, here. And we're just like,
Dumpy's turd shack.
yeah, these are what are on paper competing outlets working together because we're like at our wits' end.
No, I did that some with Pokemon and Cali as well, like figuring out the weird evolution methods.
Yeah.
Like, I'll trade you my evolution method if you show me your evolution
Yeah,
method.
exactly.
Like, I can't figure
it gets
this out.
crazy.
Nice.
But gosh, what was it? Funny story about the publishers. Sometimes you reach out and be like, so how many collectibles are there? And they'll come back and be like, I don't know. Which has happened before.
Just got to figure it out.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing where like I remember like trying to find all the golden coins in like new Super Mario Brothers for Wii U or for Switch, and I was like late game and I was like, where's the third one? And I just like looked it up and an IGN guide came up and I was like, oh, that's really helpful. And in my head I was like, oh yeah, I know the guy who wrote that, and I know that was probably a huge pain in the butt for him. Like obviously yes, there are way harder jobs in the world. We're not undermining that, but yeah, there is definitely that sort of crescendo where you go from like, this is really fun to, man, this is kind of a pain. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for the question, Alan.
And
I
Zach.
hope you enjoyed.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I did
I
sort
hope
of
you all
derail. I'm sorry.
enjoyed our tangents. So this one is from Chad Hole, and he says, I'm an old man gamer, 39. Like, that's not, come on, man. That's not that
Chad
old.
Hole?
Chad Hole.
Oh,
Chad with two D's and then Hole. What? What did I say?
I heard Chad Hole.
Chad. That's it.
Apologies to Chad Hull and the entire Hull family. I'm sorry.
What if someone's name actually is Chad Hole? Now
My
you're just making
9-year-old
it up.
nephew got to switch over the holidays.
What does Chad Hull ask?
And this
for
fact,
the love of God.
And this fact has made me reassess how I feel about the console. Why isn't there an incognito sign-in mode? He thinks anytime I'm online, I'm there solely to play Mario Kart with him, which isn't the truth, but I don't fault his reasoning considering his age. My friends don't always need to know when I'm online. Basically, Chad doesn't want everyone being able to see his online status and his library of games and asks, can this be addressed? I'd love to use your platform to have Nintendo address what I think is a serious problem. So there is
You can totally do
a
that.
way to address this.
Yeah.
So I actually brought my Switch so I can tell you the exact menus you need to go through to find it. So if you go to your page, your profile page, you click it, and then you go down to user settings, and then go down to friends settings, then you can change who sees your online status and who sees your play activity, and you can change it to no one. So that's how you do that, and I know that because you have to do that when you're playing games
Pre-release.
before they're out.
Yep.
Can you block specific people like Chad Hole's nephew?
You can block. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
There you go. So I hope that solved your problem, but he also has another problem that isn't solved. He says, lastly, couldn't there be a way to increase font size across all games? The Switch is full of text, heavy titles, and while my eyes are worse than most, it seems very obtuse to not be able to increase the font on a modern console. So there is a way to zoom in, but
that zooms in the entire image.
Yeah, it zooms in the entire image, and then you can't interact with it. You can only read it. I find it very obnoxious.
Right.
And I agree. I wish there was a way to have bigger text, especially in games like Fire Emblem. I don't like playing Fire Emblem handheld because of that reason. I think the text is too small.
This is just a consistent problem with games
which
on
is
Switch.
baffling to me.
It's been
and
consistent
it's-
across every platform for like literal decades.
You're right. It's not just Switch, because I remember I was having problems with like God of War also on
like on
PS4. It's like the text is really small in some spots on there. I think it's just a consistent sort of thing as devs have to sort of, they have to, especially for cross-platform games, they have to figure out, okay, the text needs to be the right size for somebody sitting on a 55-inch TV, as the same as a 22-inch monitor, is the same as a 10-inch or 7-inch Switch or whatever, and it needs to work across all those places, and that's really a hard thing to dial in and also balance with the game looking good.
But I mean, think about a game like The Witcher or, any Breath of the Wild where you can customize your HUD so much. Like, why isn't there just a toggle that's like 1 to 5, 2 is the default. Okay, well, I'm half blind. I want to crank this up to 5 and make sure that I can see big ass font. Like,
and that's exactly it. Is there just needs to, we need those settings more consistently across games. I completely agree.
it's just an accessibility thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's interesting. We when when we had a kid, we started putting subtitles on TV more because we'd be in the middle of a movie.
And
like,
now she knows how to read.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And like our daughter would start crying. We'd be like, we missed the scene. We're like sleep training her, stuff like that. And so like I started noticing that the UI in a bunch of different streaming apps have totally inconsistent subtitle. And so some of them is just like a default, like HBO Go is just like default giant ugly text. But at other ones, I think Amazon Prime lets you customize the like font and the size, and if you want a bar or like underneath, like what kind of like the overlay looks like. I wish game systems would just steal that. I know that's not it's not easy to do, but I really wish that's something that could get fixed.
Yep.
I wish some of my TV apps actually had subtitles at all, like Funimation. But anyway, this one is from Jeffrey Klein, and he says, what is one thing you'd like to see change in the sequel to Breath of the Wild?
Dungeons.
I think, honestly, that's the top of my list, too.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want more expanded stuff like that. And no more motion control hammers. That's my new answer. No more motion control hammers.
Yeah. I don't want any tilty
got really
ball
fired up
puzzles
about
either.
that.
No more tilty ball puzzles.
Yeah.
And do some more magics.
No, I totally agree. Some is more expanded dungeons.
All right. Well, that's a definitive answer from your NVC cast. More dungeons. This one is from Taylor Hemphill, and he says, what long-forgotten Nintendo franchise needs a Switch revival?
Metroid.
Yeah.
That's not long forgotten.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
What about Golden Sun? That's a...
Golden Sun is good, but like honestly, I just want Metroid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does it have to be Nintendo first party?
No.
Clay Fighters.
I don't know what that is.
What?
Wrong. Beat
You're gonna
it.
burn your wish on that?
How about Claymates?
What is that?
No.
What are
What about
those?
Plock? I'm just going for Clay games now.
Why?
I don't know.
What about Croc?
Oh, we need a celebrity deathmatch game on the Switch.
Ugh.
There we go.
You guys are really, if like a genie was
Clay.
here, he'd be crying. You guys are burning wishes.
What about that game?
The monkey paw just jumps up. and
Yeah,
slaps you, like-
You know what? You know what's actually a game that I would love to see a sequel of in the modern day?
F-Zero, that we haven't seen that
That's
one
a
in a
great
while.
one.
It's better than Clay Car or whatever.
I was
going
gonna
to
go with Billy Hatcher.
Billy Hatcher
Ooh,
is good.
yeah, Billy Hatcher. Brian, why do you look so disappointed in us?
You like Billy Hatcher.
I don't like Billy Hatcher. Nobody actually likes Billy Hatcher. That's not a memorable song. You made that up.
No, that's the Billy Hatcher song.
No, it's not. You
Brian has a
invented
Billy
that.
Hatcher tramp stamp.
I do. It's an egg hatching into my body.
No, I love that game. You're right. Billy Hatcher is the definitive answer.
How is that it?
Thank you.
No, it's F-Zero.
You heard it here first.
Billy Hatcher. Get out of here, Billy Hatcher.
You should ask this next one.
I don't. Oh,
So disappointed.
I didn't get an answer from Pear about this.
But we can guess.
Okay. This is Diffin or Dyfan Lewis. Did Pear ever try out Earthbound 64?
Yes.
He
Yes.
probably reviewed it.
Yeah.
Dude's
did?
70 years old. He definitely reviewed that game. What's up, Pear?
Is this
Do you think
a
he played
guess?
it? Do you think he played it?
I did Slack him, but I don't think he responded to me.
No.
I'm checking.
No. Okay, so
I
that's
think-
3 yeses and a no.
I think no.
Oh,
because
oh,
I
he
think
did, he
he'd
did.
brag a lot more
He
about it.
says it was watchable and not playable. I got to see it running, but not touch.
There we go.
There it is.
I think if he got to play Earthbound 64, you would hear
We
that
would know.
at least twice a week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I played
Yeah,
Earthbound
well.
64.
That's exactly what Pear sounds like.
No offense, Pear.
I
It's
definitely
just an
meant that to offend
accomplishment.
him.
No, not that. He was offending you. I was not.
He would have been here to back me up and shutting down that Billy Hatcher nonsense back there. What was that about?
Pear has
not,
Billy
yeah.
Hatcher tattooed in old ass English across his chest, so no, he wouldn't have.
Okay, I want to skip this next question real quick for a
Okay.
super easy question from Phil Mansfield. He says, tea time with Byleth or curry with hop?
Oh,
What
tea
kind
time with Byleth.
Yeah, come on. What kind of question is that?
Yeah.
Tea time with Byleth. Is
Much
that
more
even
interesting character.
Tom, why do you look like you're deep in thought?
Here's the
Byleth is
thing.
a child who is annoying.
No, Hop is. Hop is a
Or
child.
I'm
who's
sorry,
annoying.
yeah. Hop is a child who is annoying, and Byleth can be a very attractive man or woman that you can have tea with.
You
Who's
wanted
like
a
a
quick
demigod.
answer, and I was thinking about well, if I was with Hop, then I would be in the Pokemon world. Does that mean I get a Pokemon too? It's probably tea
Okay,
time.
don't think that deep.
Okay, tea
it's
time.
just meal. You're not.
What
Don't
about
go to the
curry
world.
with Byleth? and
Third
tea
option,
time with-
eggs with Billy Hatcher.
Yeah, baby.
Perfect.
Show him my tattoo.
You'd
Eggs,
think that was
tactics,
weird.
and glory.
Get kicked out of that
Beautiful,
restaurant.
delicious.
We're getting trash at a Denny's.
I do prefer curry over tea.
Wake
But
up,
anyway, this one is from Brian Lincoln Walter, and he asked, "What additions to the current Switch dashboard would you like to see?"
Themes.
memes.
Because we still just have black and white, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I actually got surprised when Casey pulled up her Switch because it was the white theme, and I was like, oh yeah,
I forgot about
I
that.
could do that.
Honestly,
Mine's
more
been on, like,
than
night mode.
themes, I still just want a way to customize the things that show up on the front without having to like
Yeah.
re-up because it's always the most recent, and then when
Yeah.
you get into the larger list, you can sort them. But I'd really love a way to just
Folders.
pin some games to the front
Folders
of
would
Yeah.
be good. I also want to be able to push down games that aren't installed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll archive a game but keep the icon there because
Right.
you're like, oh, I want to remember I have that so I can re-download it someday, but I don't want it to take up space.
Well, and you have yours in like the massive layout, right? Like
Yeah.
yours isn't the line, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That makes
Yep.
sense.
I have a friend who she's almost 2-year-old daughter, and he started arranging his PlayStation games in folders based on games that can pause and games that
I thought
don't
you were
in
talking
two
about the
different
baby.
folders.
I was like, that's a very smart baby.
Yeah.
No, one is called AJ Safe and one is not AJ.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So it's like, these can pause. So maybe the Switch could have something like that, so you can do those type of things.
Do you remember
name
how-
the folders?
Do you remember how insane your 3DS home screen got once you started playing that?
Yeah.
What was that? What was the name of that game where you went into? It was like a crane machine with that psychotic rabbit.
Oh God.
And you would
I
put
know what you're
stickers
talking
all over your
about, but I don't.
I'm totally forgetting the name of that.
Wait,
It was a first-party app
okay.
made by Nintendo where they would constantly put in new sticker sets and themes, and they would give you free coins and plays every day. And by going in and dropping a crane, you could catch like Zelda stickers and put them on your 3DS home screen. And my 3DS home screen was just absolute Badge Arcade. There it is. Badge Arcade was your screen by the end was absolute nonsense. It was so much fun. I want something like that. I want more customization options.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
The second top search term when you type in, so when you search 3DS crane game, it just says, wow, F the claw machine. So
Nice.
Original working title of that game.
here's an easy one from Albert Johnson. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Waffles.
Pancakes.
Okay.
Yeah. I like how a waffle will trap the syrup in the little squares.
I
That's
do like
nice.
Belgian waffles. Belgian waffles are nice. Like, you go to a hotel and you get the big fluffy waffles. Those are the only acceptable kind of waffles.
I had Belgian waffles in Belgium last year, and I get it. I totally get it.
You know,
Actually,
okay.
I might change my answer to those.
I thought there was a question we weren't going to be able to get off track on, but man.
I was
mean,
I was
right-
about to tell a story that was like also really off track, but
Well, guys, the most popular
Thank you.
thread on our NVC podcast forums is how McDonald's black coffee is better, and now there's a whole argument over which is better: Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, Waffle House, Starbucks.
Where did we go? What just
Folks,
happened?
dream bigger, please.
yeah, seriously.
Where's the best
I don't want to sound like a
coffee?
hipster, but find
This
like a
is
local
important.
roaster in your town. Good
All right.
God. You go to the Grimace for your coffee? What are you, nuts?
the grimace.
All right, a
I got this
wizard.
coffee from the Hamburger.
We got a wizard question?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We got a
Go for it.
wizard.
It's been a while.
I'm making this up on the spot. A wizard shows up and offers to give you a Switch and a free coffee to drink while you're playing your Switch. Which coffee place do you go to get your
Whoa,
coffee?
wait. Oh,
no.
I feel like I got tricked by this wizard.
Talking about a chain, or are you talking about like a?
No.
Don't answer
Chain.
it. Don't answer it.
Okay.
Like
Then this is gonna keep
Starbucks,
happening.
Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, Waffle
Phil's
House.
is a chain.
Phil's.
They make really good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
With a Z.
Phil's is the coffee of choice. NVC, you heard it here
I'm
first.
so excited for a wizard question.
I'm sorry, we haven't had wizard questions in a long time. What happened?
Have you ever had
You know what's going to
their-
happen next week? A flood of wizard questions.
Have you ever had their mint mojito?
Yes, it's
Oh
very
my
good.
God, that is.
Yeah.
Mint mojito
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Phil's?
It's a
Their
coffee.
coffee?
It's a
like
nice coffee.
They put
Yeah.
fresh mint sprigs in.
That sounds very tasty.
Yeah, it's a lot.
This one is from Eric Malara, and he says, "What are your favorite memories of the 3DS since it's probably dead now?"
Badge Arcade.
Badge Arcade. I mean, I think that the two Zelda remasters and those I know you have feelings about Majora's Mask.
It's still pretty on the 3DS.
I think that they're the definitive ways to play two of the best Zelda games, and then also Link Between Worlds is like one of my favorite games
Love Link
ever
Between
made.
Worlds.
To piggyback on that, the 3DS quietly became this amazing Zelda machine.
Yeah.
It had both of the Oracle and Seasons games.
Yep.
It had Link's Awakening. It had Zelda 1, Zelda
You know
2.
what? I think that's honestly what I miss the most about the 3DS is the 3DS shop.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those games are readily available elsewhere now, but at the time it was like so many of those games weren't available anywhere except on the 3DS, and I got to go back through and play like Earthbound on 3DS before it was available anywhere. Both the Oracle games, yeah. Yeah.
I would regularly spend, because they were like $2.99, $3.99 to
Yeah.
buy Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, and I was like, I played these when this thing launched, and I was a child and I don't remember it, and I dropped $3 and be playing Alleyway or something like that, and I was like, wow, this is super cool to just have this option. Yeah, I really miss that.
Man, I had.
This guy over here.
Tom doesn't miss anything about
I
the
have
3DS.
two memories. First memory, 3DS. I was playing. I was playing a Monster Hunter game on the 3DS, and we were in a Del Taco in Orlando at like 2:00 in the morning, and we're fighting a Rathian, and I got a Rathian plate, and then I got another Rathian plate in the reward screen, and I was so excited that I like
While
yelled
you're
out
getting
loud.
a taco plate?
I was in Del Taco. Like
Yeah.
we were just like, we were sitting in a fast food restaurant, and I just got super excited about playing Monster Hunter at 2:00 in the morning in a Del Taco.
I really liked Street Pass for a while there.
Yeah, Street Pass
Like
is
I think I got burned out on it because I did the same loop through Me Hat Finder or whatever it was called. Remember that little RPG where you kept fighting that purple man, kept stealing yourself with a wig or whatever it was? That was weird. It was very weird.
The funny thing about Street Pass was like the first year that I went to E3 with IGN was 2015. So by that point, like it was already sort of a done deal. But I took my 3DS because Goldfarb told me that like, oh, you'll Street Pass with crazy people at E3. And so like, I Street Passed like all these like industry legends that were there and had their 3DS too. I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah, I remember like walking by the Nintendo booth with like my 3DS hanging out of my back pocket being like, Miyamoto. And I got him. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, that was super
great.
cool. But they would also like beam famous Nintendo people to your phone or your 3DS too. That was a good time.
I
show up.
I have kind of a weird one. I was just checking the date of this because I couldn't remember. I went to my very, very, very first E3 ever when I was still a freshman in college was the year that they had the 3DS playable, and I went to the Nintendo conference. That was the only conference I went to that year, and I got to play the 3DS in the then Nokia Live Theater at that Nintendo conference, and it was like a moment in my life where at that point I didn't even think I was going to go through
Was that the year that they were chained
coverage.
to the ladies, or was that the DS?
Both
don't
were at times chained to ladies,
remember.
which is a very weird thing looking back.
I don't remember them being chained. I just remember them being like people with them, and maybe I just blocked that part out of my memory.
Chained is a strong word, but it's also the word to describe it.
Yeah.
I remember
Well,
playing.
thanks for stealing that special moment from me.
It's okay. Did any of you guys play
I did that. That's my fault.
Did any of you guys go to the E3 that had the Wii U's upstairs that had the Zelda tech demo running
No.
My time.
with this big spider? And you could move the camera. Like you couldn't actually really play it.
I saw.
Which
the
year
demo.
was that?
I want to
It
say
would have been before. It would have been before 2011, right?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe maybe 2011, maybe 2010.
Because the Wii came out in 2012, right?
I went to it was announced in
Been a long time.
2011. I remember that much.
Yeah.
I went to E3 2010 and covered it, and then I wasn't working for the same website in 2011, but for some reason I was still on Nintendo's mailing list, so they still sent me an invite to their E3 press conference, and since I was living in LA at the time, I just went to their E3 press conference and then bailed and didn't go to the rest of E3 in 2011, and it was kind of wonderful.
I was gonna say that's the way to do it.
Yeah, so I got to play Skyward Sword at that press conference, and then never went back.
Those are 3DS memories. Now I want to do one more question because this person writes into us often, and we very rarely get to his questions, and I want to point this out. So this one is from Marshall Gordick. Sorry. He says, my name is Marshall Gordick, and I'm proud to have autism. Do you hate Metroid Other M? As a Metroid autistic fan, it's very disrespectful to me when people say Other M almost killed Metroid. While it may not be a classic, there's a lot of Other M that I loved and liked about it that Sakamoto would bring over to Samus Returns. While I do agree that the script and story could have been better, it's not Sonic 06. I believe there's nothing wrong with Samus having PTSD or being on the autism spectrum, and I believe that in order to raise awareness on a series that needs help, Other M deserves a second chance on Nintendo Switch. And technically, why not? Also, why not have a Metroid Prime Saga collection, including Prime, Pinball, Hunters, Echoes, Corruption, and Federation Force on Switch?
Ooh, you lost me with that last one.
Yeah.
Speaking of that last one, Federation Force, I think, reminded us all that Other M wasn't as bad as we thought because there were new lows to achieve. I think that like the issue with Other M is not necessarily the gameplay, although it's very disjointed. I don't think it ever really gelled of going from first person pointer to like sort of 2D platformer side scroller, but with 3D like controls. I think that it was narratively like they kind of butchered Samus as a character, and they withheld all of her cool powers because like some dumb man couldn't let her use her guns.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has nothing to do with PTSD or being on any sort of spectrum. That the reason that the story doesn't, and I'm another apologist. I actually like the game itself. The story is like the thing that ruins it for me is the fact that Samus has always been like this lone wolf, very independent operator, and in this game she's totally beholden to a bunch of characters that we never met or well, I guess we knew some of them from Zero Mission, but like it just seemed her actions and the way that the story cast her seemed so out of character that it like ruined the sort of like badass like lone wolf approach that I've always had in my headcanon for that character.
Totally.
So,
like I think Metroid Prime 3 and Fusion are classic Metroid games. I think they're awesome games. I would love if every non-Samus person in those games were completely gutted.
I said Zero Mission, but I did mean
Fusion has like that guy who's constantly texting you and he's calling you and stuff like that. And 3 has, you know, they gift him. There's that one guy with the helmet that pops up and down.
Yeah.
There's like a whole bunch of dudes that are hanging around waiting for you to go get stuff done.
There's that whole like team of
Yeah, I think that loses the whole sort of like lone dystopian bounty hunter thing. But yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. Like I don't think it's a catastrophic failure.
So, and would I play it again if it came to the Switch? Like 100%.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like oftentimes I think it goes one of two ways. Time is either really kind to games that you dislike where you go back to it and you're like, oh, actually, this isn't as bad as I remember it. Or it's the opposite and you go back to it and you're like, oh, yes, this is much worse than I remember.
Well, yeah. It's also, I would say that the absence of the Prime franchise returning in any meaningful way for the last, what feels like 20 years at this point, would make me appreciate a game like this more, you know? Like, because I know that like this game came out at a time where I was like, this is not where I want the series to go. But we haven't had a true installment in the series, aside from the 3DS remake of the Game Boy game, in so long that I would totally revisit this. I think a lot of the same stuff would still annoy me, but I'd find new stuff that I liked.
If they put it on the Switch and allowed you to switch perspectives by pressing a button and then use like dual stick controls as opposed to motion controls, I think it would totally work.
Yeah, I think that intrinsically would make it immediately better than playing the entire game of the Wiimote.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'll say to this is that, Marshall, if you took something from this or saw like that, like, or kind of like saw yourself in part of this character or this story, like that's awesome, right? Like no matter what we think about the game, like nothing can take that away from you. And it's really great and cool that's something you got out of this that honestly I didn't even think about coming from my perspective. Like that's really, really great.
Yeah.
And to your point also, like I don't think that there are enough games that deal with autism in a respectful and interesting way out there, right? Like that's totally a space that could be respectfully explored in games more, and it's kind of a bummer that it's not. But at the same time, I think we are sort of shifting towards people talking about mental health in a more kind of open way and talking about different things like this in ways that are not just sort of tokening them. And so that, I think there's always hope for that. As for Metroid Prime Saga Collection, let's just get the trilogy out, man. Let's worry about that first. Let's. I think
that like this is the Saga Collection is there's just too much money to be made there selling those pieces independently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like given Nintendo's proclivity to like reissue stuff but not necessarily put them in bundles, like like they'll put out Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on the Wii U, but they would never put those two games together.
Right.
Like it's just there's just too much money to be made there because of people like us, and I assume you, that are like, I'll just buy them all again.
Yep. I mean, I really dug Pinball. I would totally
me
play
too.
that
I liked
again.
Pinball a lot.
Hunters is an interesting one because so much of that pivots around the online functionality and stylus controls at the time. It's also a weird game because you go to planets, fight bosses, destroy the planet, and leave, and then go back to it. Like there's cutscenes where you watch an entire planet blow up, and then Samus is like, "Oh crap, I forgot my socks," and you fly back. Very odd.
Do you think the socks are made of metal?
I hope so.
Me too.
So hey guys, thank you so much for being on NVC this week. Super appreciate it, and super appreciate all of you, the audience and listeners, for sending in your questions. We gathered these questions from nvc@ign.com, our email address, and also on the NVC podcast Facebook forums. So if you want to send your questions to us, you can use either of those avenues. And I actually read like 99% of what is sent to that email and what is asked on question block. So if you really want your question to be asked, just keep sending and we'll eventually get to it. Yeah. So thank you so much. Remember, you can watch or listen to NVC every Thursday at 3 p.m. PT, either on your favorite podcasting platforms like Spotify or Apple or YouTube or IGN.com. And we're trying to figure out what's going on with Apple iTunes. So sorry for that coming out late last week.
Yeah,
we're
weird
going
delay
to
there.
fix it.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much for watching. And remember, this is the only place you can
Get the thing.